Welcome to the presentation of the EACN partnership. My name is Thomas Röhr. I'm working at Pôle Véhicule du Futur, and we are a project leader for the EACN project, EACN for Joint Industrial Modernization Investments. Today, we present the EACN partnership, which is one action within the project which aims at preparing the future of the European Automotive Cluster Network, EACN. So we will speak about the EACN, the network, and the initiative of the EACN project. Then we will have a look on the project, and within this project we launched the partnership. And as said, the objective of this partnership is to prepare the next version, the future of the European Automotive Cluster Network with much more partners than we have today. Today, the European Automotive Cluster Network totals 9 clusters. 6 of them are project partners and 2 of them are associated partners, and there is a 9th one in the network today. And then, what was the background of the EACN project? We initiated in 2016 the EACN when the European Commission announced for the first time the ESCP S3 codes, so ESCP, European Strategic Cluster Partnership codes, in the field of the strategic strategies, S3 strategies. The basic idea behind EACN was that the European automotive industry is facing a lot of changings actually, and that we saw that the main competitors are not within the European automotive companies, except perhaps somehow the OEMs, but that the real competitors are in Asia and in America, and that cooperation should be possible between the actors of the automotive industry. We also had the fact that industrial and societal environment changes. We will come back to this later. And thus we saw that innovation was needed as well in the product, in the production, the process, and in skills. And this was a basic idea behind the EACN network. So especially SMEs are addressed by the EACN project and by the EACN network, but not only all members of the clusters can participate. And cooperation for us means sharing risks and costs between the different actors. And that's why 6 of the EACN members decided to submit a proposal to the European ESCP S3 call in 2018. And fortunately, we got funded, and the project is still running until the 15th of October 2020. This basic idea that the environment for the European automotive industry is heavily changing was one of the first topics we looked on in the project, and we identified 4 blocks of changing. The first one, social trends. We all see with the younger people who are not anymore very keen on owning their own vehicle, but they are just using the opportunity to move from A to B. That is the best one at the given moment. We have other trends like sharing economy, like concentrating of population in the cities, of changing population, more elder people, and so on. This is the first trend. The second trend is the economic trends. So yes, made in China is very strong. We have these trade wars or conflicts, protectionism. We have a lot of data collection today, meaning that sometimes data is more valuable than hardware, cars, for example. And we have this opposition between globalization, international companies, and regional concentrations. Third block, technological trends. The automotive or mobility sector is heavily changing at the moment. We're speaking about connected cars, about autonomous or automated cars. We're speaking about new power chains like electric and hybrid drive systems. And in line with these modifications, with these changes, we speak about lightweight materials. We speak about improved productivity, Industry 4.0, smart factory as some keywords. And the last block, the ecological and political trends. So climate change, which is in the focus today. We have the Brexit, which will heavily impact the European automotive industry, and so on. So these four trend blocks have been identified, and they are source of fears within the automotive industry. And answering to these fears means that cooperation can be one of the solutions. There is a full deliverable which is going more in depth for this, which you can download on the project website, which is given down on the slide. What are the solutions or the challenges? So we have a decreasing demand for vehicles in Europe. We have a pressure on margins, especially in SMEs. We have an increased added value by improving customers' experiences. We need intelligent components and systems for electric and autonomous vehicles. So technology will heavily change. We must tend to low emission or more eco-friendly vehicles. And we will have, in line with all these modifications, a lack of skilled employees, because the skills needed tomorrow are not the same as the ones we have today. So solutions could be, or what are the challenges for the companies? They need to be able tomorrow to produce smaller series than today. It's no mass series anymore. They need to improve productivity. This can go through virtual planning methods. This can go through cooperation with the customers. This will go through other materials and so on. So there are a lot of challenges the industry needs to face. And if you know that margins are very low, so possibility to invest and to develop is very difficult, especially in SMEs, where the owner or the CEO is doing still a lot of things, and he has not always the time to look for these future trends and to adapt his company. So this is somehow a given situation, and that means we need to help our members to work on 4 categories. The first one is a product, bringing OEMs together with specialists for new materials, helping them to develop alternative powertrains, advanced transmission systems, and so on. Looking in vehicle concepts, connected automated autonomous vehicles, but also in the production, making production more efficient, more sustainable, more automatic, able to use new materials, using additive manufacturing systems, and so on. We have also the process, meaning data management, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and new or innovative production tools. And then last but not least, working skills and working environment. So the 4 Ps from EACN is product, production, process, and people. These are the 4 domains in which we want to put our effort in the future. How to work? Our working strategy was and is still that we want to start to bring the clusters together to know each other, and with the cluster members, because knowing each other is the main important point to start cooperation. And then we want to identify activities and subjects with potential common problems and help our members to develop associated solutions. In common projects, which can be investment projects or R&D projects. So we can imagine that several SMEs are coming together to buy the same solution and make earn savings by that. And then once each other does know each other, then new affairs between the partners and between the partners and third parties will occur. This is so our working strategy, what we think and what we hope will work in the future. In addition to these actions dedicated to our members, we have the cluster support actions or activities like the organization of events and workshops, helping them with intellectual property, identifying funding, identifying partners, suppliers, and so on and so on. This is not an exhaustive list, but only some examples. This working strategy, as well as the 4 Ps we've seen before, have been defined at the very beginning of our project and are the basis for the EACN project that we submitted to the European Commission. We also discussed about the partnership, and we can see here we have the phase 1 member clusters. These are the 9 clusters that initiated the EACN about 2 years ago, and we have the phase 2 member clusters, and that are you. These new EACN partnership clusters who shall join the network later on. And then we can have, or we imagine that we have other partner clusters from other domains. So no automotive or mobility clusters, but like shown here, ICT, eco-construction, materials, supply chain, logistics, and whatever we can imagine, clusters who can give us access to the solution providers. If our members have a problem, we need to solve the problem, and this will probably not be done within our members. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes not. And if we need other competences, then we want to have access to these partner clusters outside the automotive industry. That's what we imagined 2 years ago. The aim of the partnership is now within the EACN project to start thinking about, okay, how will we do that in the future? We've been 9 clusters until now. 9 clusters, we handled that very loose with just some phone calls from time to time. Now we are 19 clusters, and probably we will be even more in the future. So it's very difficult to handle this as just beside. So we need to think about how to structure and organize the whole network and what are the real missions and objectives of it. And this should be done with you together. The current state of the cluster partnership is this one. Here you can see so all the members of the EACN partnership and the initial EACN network. So the partnership or the whole network covers quite a lot of Europe today. And as said, we are still in contact with some other clusters, so that probably there will be more points and more countries covered in the future. This is a real opportunity. I think with this network we have a real power, and we should try to think how we can use this one for our all benefit. So not cluster, but our members' benefit. Let's come now to the EACN project. As said, the project has been submitted in 2018 and funded from October 2018 on by the European Commission via the COSME program from the European Union. Sorry. So 6 clusters are project partners. You can see them on the left side, and two partners are associated partners to German clusters. The vision was that we wanted to guide SMEs of the automotive industry in their industrial modernization process. As said, they have not a lot of time, often not a lot of money, but there's a huge need to go further and to modernize the production system, to modernize product, to still be able to cooperate with bigger partners, the tier 1 or the OEMs. We decided to focus on 4 different topics. The first one, virtualization for planning processes. So everything what's concerning simulation and modeling, robotics and artificial intelligence in production processes, the elasticity of the production process, and Industry 4.0 skills and competencies. These are the 4 topics we are working on, and where you will be able to contribute from now on. The aim was to raise awareness among SMEs for the need, to share good practices, to define needs or identify needs and develop potential solutions, to promote interregional cooperation between the cluster members. Especially SMEs are often very locally active, and it's important that they too become more open and start cooperating with other partners in other regions of Europe. And the last one, for promotion of the interregional cooperation between the regional authorities. As said, this is a European Strategic Cluster Partnership project within the F3 section, and thus the aim is too that the regional authorities contribute and benefit from this project. What are the different activities? So here we can see on the timeline what the project means. What we've done in the past is that we identified SMEs within our members and did audits with them, and we'll see some results of these audits on the next slides. We've done thematic workshops around the different topics I've cited before to identify potential problems, subjects within these topics where we can imagine projects. We had first matchmaking, one first matchmaking event in the past, and we'll have 2 more at the beginning of February and the beginning of March, but we will come back to this later, where companies are coming together and discussing joint projects. We combine these thematic matchmakings with demo lab visits, which means we go into some facilities where companies can experience technologies, discover technologies, or in companies which are forerunners and have something where others can benefit and learn from. The objective is to have then a project pipeline with projects that could be developed to submittable projects. Submittable means to be submitted to a bank or to a funding call. And this one is, so the thematic matchmaking events which are coming are open to you and your members. So we would like to ask you to promote these to your members. Here are some results from the audits we've done. So as you can see, most of the SMEs, so most of the partners or the companies that had been investigated were SMEs, about 3/4, and more 20 other percent were very small companies, so less than 10 people. And most of the companies we asked have a very low investment level for industrial modernization, which is below 3% of between 2016 and 2018. On the right side here on this slide, you can see the results of the topics which are seen as potential collaboration topics in the field of virtualization for planning processes. The main important are the vertical integration and visualization tools and virtual enterprise manufacturing planning, visual enterprise manufacturing planning, sorry. So these are the four main topics, but others are given too. This is the basis for the projects that had been raised then. Here are the same graphs for the two other industrial topics, robotics and artificial intelligence on the left side, and elasticity and production processes on the right side. So if you look on the graph on the left side, the biggest parts are the production, interactive robotics as cooperation or collaboration topic. Space efficiency is important, and intelligence of systems. So production needs to be more intelligent, more flexible somehow during this intelligence, and more efficient. And on the right side, flexible production systems, not wondering that this is the biggest part in the elasticity of production processes section, and vertical integration, which is here seen too as a very important tool. Based on these results and in cooperation with our members, we started to identify projects. And here are some of the projects, just the titles, that are today in the pipeline and that are today discussed between companies. When we sent you the invitation to this presentation, you got a file with more detailed information about the different projects. So this file, you can share it with your members to see whether someone is interested in one of these projects. We can see that projects are submitted, proposed by the companies in all three technical domains we are working on. How is it working if you or one of your company wants to submit a new project? We have a template, a project concept template, which is the first step where a company just identifies itself and then describes really briefly the project with what's the objective, what's the expected outcome. This template can be filled in by the company and should then be sent via the partner cluster, so via you, back to us, and then we share this with all the companies that are in the pipeline and with you, and try to find other companies that are interested in joining this project. And on the other hand, if one of your companies is interested in one of the projects that has still been submitted, then they have just to tell us that they are interested, and we put them together in contact with the project owner, the one who emitted the project at the very first time. Once there are at least two partners, then there is a further discussion on the project. So project idea will be somehow developed with first ideas about a timeline, about potential work packages. The objectives will be better defined, which could be or which must be partners to be able to do the project and so on. This is a second step. And then once this is done and the project is well described, then there is a possibility to apply for financial support within the project. Financial support means that external specialists help the consortium, mainly SMEs with low experience in funding or in funding proposals, help them to write these proposals and to write high quality proposals with a higher chance to get funded. And this is co-funded via the project, or this can be co-funded by the project. All these activities are open to all your cluster members, but addressing especially SMEs, because we are in the COSME program, so which is a specific program from the European Union addressing SMEs. And the project is open to investment or R&D project. As said before, several companies, they're coming together to purchase the same solution. This can be a project too. The only condition is that if a consortium wants to apply for official funding, a reply to a call from the European Union, then all the conditions from this call must be fulfilled with regard to number of partners, for example. So this is what's now one of the opportunities for your members and for you. So there are some options too. As cluster, you can participate in all our events that are coming, matchmaking events, discussions, exchanges, and so on. You can participate also in project development, and especially that's something we would like to ask you to do, is to participate in the preparation or the development of our long-term strategy, because this strategy will define how EACN will continue after the end of this project. You have all seen the agreement ends on the 15th of October this year, and so that we need to have a common agreement for the next phase, which will follow later on, so from the 16th of October 2020. And therefore we need to define objectives, what type of actions we want to do, how we want to structure the organization, which type of governance we want to have, and so on and so on. And this discussion should be done all together, as we want as much clusters as possible to join this network in the next months. To finish this presentation, our next events are the two matchmaking events and demo lab visits, which are on the 4th to 6th February in Mulhouse, France, on the subject of elasticity of production processes, and exactly 1 month later, from the 4th to 6th March, on the topic of modelization and virtualization in Belgrade in Serbia. Both events are open to you as partnership cluster, but also to your members who want to discover projects and want to meet other companies. And then we have also planned study visits. I call Discover Cluster Facilities and Programs. This is not the official title, but just to give you an idea what it is. One in Vigo in Spain, with our Siaga partner, and one in Sofia, Bulgaria, with our Automotive Cluster Bulgaria partner, which will take place in spring, summer this year. So the exact dates are not yet fixed. These are the next events where I really invite you to participate, and we would be really happy to meet you there. Thank you very much for your attention. Now I have finished the presentation, and we'll open now the session of question and answers. So you can unmute your GoToMeeting systems.